Regular meeting, March 26th, 2024. Let the minutes reflect that all 5 board members are present. Item 2 will be the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked Ms. Newsom and our 2 students, if you'd like to introduce them for us, please. They're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, this is Colby Meadows. He's a 3rd grader here at Jetney Branch Elementary. And this is Serenity Graham. She's a 2nd grader at Talcott Elementary.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, item 3, we have approval of agenda with adjustments.
I make a motion that, I would have to pull myself out for personnel appointment, summer service. We vote on that separately.
Okay, so when we get to personnel, we want to pull
Employment,
summer
summer service.
service out separately. Okay, so we have a motion by Mrs. Farley that when we get to personnel, we pull employment, summer service out and handle that separately. I have a second.
Second.
Okay. Seconded by Mrs. Harvey. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote. When we get to personnel, we will pull employment, summer service out and handle that separately. Other adjustments?
Make a motion that we pay safe and sound security systems separately in the bills.
Second.
We don't have RT Rogers in the bills. Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mr. McBride to pull safe and sound out from the bills and handle those separately. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote, we will pull safe and sound out when we get to the bills and handle that separately. Any other adjustments?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as read with the aforementioned adjustments.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we approve the agenda as read with the aforementioned adjustments. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the agenda has been approved as read with aforementioned adjustments. All right, public comments? No? All right, item 5, levy discussion. When's our next town hall? We have that. Sorry.
It's Monday, but following.
The 8th. I was thinking the 8th, but I didn't want to, and that's going to be at 6:30 at the 6:15 at the Memorial Building. Thank you.
What time?
6:15 Memorial Building.
6:50 because the group usually at 5:50, so
Okay.
they don't cross.
Yeah. Once.
We were also finishing up the price meeting too.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess a little bit of time.
Okay, gives you time to run from one place to the other.
Yes.
One thing I'd mention, and I don't know if we can do it or not with privacy and what have you, but if we have any type of social media or anything that we can put pictures of things that the levy is going to support, especially if our kids are engaged in it, I think that would be a good thing. People can see this is what your dollars would go for. So that's just, I did mention that to Mr. Worrell. That's just a thought I've had. If anybody has any other thoughts on how to promote this, feel free to speak up if you all have any thoughts.
Speaking of promoting, are we gonna talk about this now, or is this gonna be in your report?
You can talk about that.
Yeah, let's go ahead since we're on levy. Go ahead.
I asked Mr. Worrell prior to the meeting about the cost of mailing these to each household, and $800 to $900, I think, is unbelievably cheap. And I don't think you need a board action to do that. As far as I'm concerned, we need to definitely move forward with that.
And that'll just be one per household versus
One
one
per
per
house.
student,
Yeah.
like we talked about. Okay. All right, any other discussion? Okay.
Me as a parent,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have to agree with you, what you said about the social media platform to get more knowledge of the levy out there.
Mhm.
Because I don't think people are really educated enough. They just hear all the time, and their mind kind of goes with that. But I think more awareness to get out there, the better chance we make to get that passed for our parents.
Okay, thank you for your comments. All right, item 6, we'll turn it over now to Jumping Branch Elementary LSIC meeting.
I'd like to thank everybody from the board for coming up here to Jefferson Branch tonight. Everybody should show what we have. We have a little slide presentation we put together to cover our LSIC meeting. I'd also like to thank the parents, everyone that showed up from our LSIC to support us with this. For the JUE mission and vision, our mission is Jeffrey Branch Elementary School will work together with the Summers County school system and the Summers County community to develop all students to their fullest potential and become an active, lifelong learner in the 21st century environment. And the vision for Jumping Branch Elementary is to provide a safe and orderly place where best practices can be constantly modeled and implemented to equip all students with the skills to be successful in a 21st century learning and working environment. So just a little bit of background. Our school was established in 1950. Jumping Branch Elementary is a pre-K through 5 school. Title I institution nestled in the highest elevation among Summers County schools. We embrace maroon and gray colors and a Tigers mascot. With our notable student to teacher ratio of 8-to-1, we ensure personalized education for our 96 students for the 23-24 school year, reflecting slight demographic fluctuations over the years. The majority of its student body, predominantly white with small percentages of Asian and multicultural students, benefits from the National School Lunch Program initiative of the school's socioeconomic diversity. So, if you saw there that says 96 students, I think when we started at the beginning of the year, we only had 90 students. So we've actually lost a few students, but we've actually picked up several students. So, this is just some of our data. This is AimsWeb, ELA, and the AimsWeb is our county benchmark. So if you look at this first one here, this is the fall, and it says fall and winter, but that's really kind of beginning of the year and middle of the year. So the green is always good. This is kindergarten ELA, so you can see the growth from the beginning of the year to now. And so this is first grade from, like I said, from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. And second grade. Third grade. This is all ELA. Oh, is it? I'm sorry. That's what it's that. Yeah, fourth grade. And fifth grade. This next slide, we're starting with the math. And it starts back with kindergarten. This is kindergarten math. So you can see there was quite a bit of growth. And first grade, this one right there. Second grade. Third. Third grade. Fourth grade. And fifth grade. So if you look at the top spot, the red part of that are the students that we call those intensive. So those are the ones that we focus on with a lot of extra incentive, or not incentives, but interventions. So, and I think we have some slides about that.
So this isn't measuring, is this measuring proficiency or is it measuring support?
This is measuring proficiency. This is their benchmark testing from the test that we get from the county.
Typically, that's given in percentages, but when you know what you're looking at, a visual is typically better, and it's very noticeable, so. It's like there's quite a bit of progress.
Yeah.
So, commendable.
So this is the Cambium testing, which is a state test, but it's also just a benchmark test, and it is from beginning of the year to the end of the year. And so the top tier here is third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and so this is beginning of the year, end of the year. So, and it does give the percentages.
Mr. Pack, can you tell them what the colors are? Because this one you see a blue in there. Can you tell them what the blue means?
Yeah, so this is, means they met their standard. Anything in blue means that they exceeded their standard. We like to see a lot of blue, or at least a lot of green and a lot of blue. Like I said, that red still means intensive, and it means that they need some extra supports. So this is the ELA, and this is the math data.
Still shows a lot of growth. You guys are doing something right.
Sorry, it's not online or anything like that. I did this. So.
Some of us don't see that well.
So this is the Ames Web math testing, and what we're looking at here is those intensive students, the ones that I was talking about with the red. When we go, when they test in the red or intensive, we set them a goal. So we're trying, like I said, we're trying to get them from the red up to a yellow, up to a green. So we set them a goal, and we test them in between the beginning of the year and the end of the year. So they have like a smaller benchmark in between the larger ones. So this is the percentage that met their goal out of that group. So we're not talking about every student here, only the intensive students that we tested. Like this one says, only one student was tested because there was only one student that measured intensive in that grade. This is the same data for the ELA.
What was the first one again? Math. Okay.
Yeah, this was the math. This sheet of ELA.
We understand too that your class sizes are smaller. You got smaller numbers, so one bad grade will kill you. The percentages we understand.
Yes.
Good grade helps you out a lot.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. Have anything to say? Oh. Oh, okay. So this is a slide about our positive behavior intervention support, and Ms. Newsom is going to take over for a little bit and talk about that.
Okay, so PBIS has been in our school for quite a while, but this past year we've really been focusing on it. Andrea and I went to a conference last June and we learned a lot, and then we're now going to the academy. Mr. Pack, Ms. Long, Andrea and I are all going to the academy. We have one more session. But what we do is we have expectations, and they're posted throughout the school. Like we have our cafeteria expectations, we have our hallway, bus hall, in the classroom, and it all goes with the acronym HEART. So we use 5 character traits, which are honesty, encouragement, ambitious, respectful, and tolerance. And so we teach these behaviors, and then once a month we do a character of the month based on one of these traits. Like August and September was honesty. And this month April, we're starting tolerance. So we reward someone in our class who has really exhibited those traits. The kids earn Tiger dollars, which I'll have right here. They can earn $5, they can earn $2, and they can earn $1. And it can be simply for, they came to school today, they came to school on time. You might get, a lot of teachers do that. They'll be like, here's $5, we're so happy to see you. In my class, I do a math problem of the day. So if they get that right, they earn $1. If the whole class gets it right, they get $5. So it's used throughout, and like in the cafeteria, if they clean up after themselves, we'll say, hey, I like the way you did that, here's your reward. They have a bank card, and on the bank card, we teach math skills because every Thursday, they each have a little card and they have to add up their money, and then they take it to the store with this Long, and she fills out how much they've spent, and then they have to figure out what their balance is. So that kind of like teaches them real world stuff that, once you spend that money, it's gone. We have a PBIS team, and we meet monthly and we go over the data, which he's put some of it up here. Our discipline up here is really not too bad.
No, but it's, we actually made this a little while back, so I think that we do have about 14 discipline incidents now this year.
But it's really not bad.
That's not bad.
No, not at all. What we do is we do this like a warning, like the teacher gives a look or just walks over to the student to get them back on task. Or we do like a student conference, call a parent. We do have this think sheet that if they've done something that they have to fill it out with what they did wrong and how they could improve that behavior. So that way they realize what they've done wrong, not just we're telling them you're in trouble. And then if it's really bad, or if it's like repeated behavior, they have a behavior slip that they get sent to Mr. Pack, and he deals with the discipline. Is that about it? You guys have any questions? Yes.
You give out like 1, 2, 3, and 5. Why don't you give out 4?
There is a 1, 2. Oh, there's not a $4 bill. But that's a good question. I mean,
Some of those discipline incidents, you said 14, or some of those repeat offenders, so they're like 15 separate.
No, some of those are repeat offenders, yes.
And you said that was a think sheet?
a think sheet, and what I can show you, I have it.
I also have.
Um,
They have out what they do, and that.
They do.
Otherwise, they're gonna be held accountable.
Right, they have to put their name, and then it says, today I was interrupting or talking, was not keeping my hands to myself, was not following my teacher's directions, was not following bathroom hallway expectations, was not focusing on my learning, and then you can write in if it's something else. And then they have to say, here's what happened, so they have to say what they think happened. And then how I feel about my choice, they have to circle where they were happy, embarrassed, sad, or mad. And then next time I will. So it gets them kind of thinking about their behavior, and they're supposed to do it with their teacher, that way they can have a discussion. So that, because some kids we found that like, we give them tiger time, or, you know, they don't understand what they did wrong. So, because like a lot of things that are acceptable at home aren't acceptable at school. So we try to teach those behaviors through this. You're welcome.
Oh, you should give you $2 nickels and anything.
Here, Colby. I'm actually gonna give you a $5 bill for the pledge.
Maybe you could use the $4 bill and put his picture on.
It's not big work on it.
I like that.
She's the one that makes all the money.
Oh. Ms. Newsom,
Yes.
you're still up.
Oh.
I
On here.
tried to put it all together. so-
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So back in January, we performed Beauty and the Beast for our drama club. We had 28 members, which is really a good number of kids for our small school. And it was only second through fifth graders. He was Gaston, actually, in our play. We performed out at the hospital in the auditorium. The kids did a fabulous job because Beauty and the Beast was a really extremely hard play to memorize all those lines. And they did an awesome job. They stay after school Mondays and Wednesdays until 5 o'clock. And then when it gets closer to time, we're after school till 6 o'clock every day. And they really put in the commitment, but they did a fabulous job. And I think they really enjoy it. It gets some of our shy kids out of their shell, and they surprise us sometimes when they get out there and belt out those songs. That's our whole cast.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. This is a picture from our Christmas Title I event. We decorated and we had Santa come in, and we let the kids and the parents come in, and I think we took 2 pictures, one of the kids and one of the families that they got for free. So if you've been to the mall and seen Santa and he's charging, I don't know how much for a picture, we gave them 2 pictures with Santa for free. Does anybody recognize who Santa might be in that picture?
Looks like Santa to me.
Santa, one of Santa's helpers. This is a young girl that we have in our kindergarten class, and she's a handful. And you won't find anybody around here that doesn't just love her. But we took this picture one day. She was talking, we were at lunch, she was talking to Donna the cook, and she was talking about her hat and her apron. And so she brought her out a hat and an apron and dressed her up. And she wore that the rest of the day. She was wearing that when she left the building to go home. So I think that just kind of shows how everybody here is involved. The cook, the custodian, all the aides. I mean, everybody really sets a positive model. So these are some pictures we took at our Christmas event. The kids, Miss Newsom got the kids together, taught them some songs. We held this event next door at the church. So they sang, the parents, the grandparents, they all got to come, and listen to the kids, sing some Christmas songs. So one of the, I took these pictures to show that we were having this, but one of the other reasons that I took this, because I knew that I was going to have your attention, is do you see how many people are here? Do you see all the traffic and everything we have? It would be really hugely nice if we had some kind of multi-purpose room or gym. We are sitting in our gymnasium right now. This is it. This is all we have. And on today, like today, when it's raining and windy, we're stuck in here. So it would be really nice to have something like a gym or a big multi-purpose room. I mean, we had our drama down at the high school. It would be nice to have stuff like that here. So when we have these events, like I said, we're even outgrowing the church next door. They're great to let us go over and use the facility. But like I said, it would really be nice if we could have a place here that we could hold events like that ourselves. We also have monthly awards.
Mrs. Duncan wants to say something.
Who?
Miss Denton.
Okay.
Go ahead, Paul.
Sorry. I was looking to back Mr. Backup on some of the gymnasium or multi-purpose room. Back at Christmas, when there's kids done and, their Christmas play, I was standing outside and, we're supposed to invite, the kids are supposed to invite parents, grandparents. And I, for instance, have a torn disc in my lower back. The whole next day I couldn't walk because there was just nowhere to sit down. So this would really, really help everything that they do. Plus, we're in school like 9 months.
So we're still at 10.
6 months out. 6 months out of the year, it's cold. And I think it would also benefit the kids to have somewhere to run their energy out. They're sitting there for 8 hours, and it's hard to keep their attention as it is. They could have a gym somewhere to run around with their coach, music, whenever you practice drama and put on your performances, stuff like that. It would really, really, I think, benefit the kids, and it would make them feel like they have something. I've heard kids talk about, well, especially like the ball games that like basketball, go up and practice and talk people, why do we have a gym? Well, I don't know, we'll have to check it on that. Stuff like that. And another instance was we had a Valentine's Day party at the school, which was good, but where we have, 50 plus kids, loud music, and then the hallway is right there, and you can all fit into the activity because it's so crowded. We had an issue with lockers, nothing from that. We had chaperones trying to keep kids out of lockers because we didn't know good for food. And that became just a small issue because people were trying to get lockers and chaperones didn't know, and we had to raise our voices for the kids to hear open music. And then, of course, you have like a lot of fifth graders that are very emotional about everything. And, really looking towards them, it was just trying to get everybody in the hallway to listen, there were some parents that they didn't have a straight story, and I was there, and I had to tell them, like, no, nothing bad happened, we was just trying to get their attention. So it would be good for all different kinds of people.
Me as a parent, I was actually going to say something, but I was waiting until you had finished, but since Paula had brought it up. I have been here for a few years with my daughter, Isabella, and I don't know how many times we've had a award ceremony, and it's all us parents, and sometimes there's grandparents or an aunt or something. And then you've got pre-K through fifth grade all trying to pack in here. And you can't, and I know there's some parents, or, that have health conditions, they can't stand, and they're struggling to stand because there's no place for them to sit, or you're having to stand out in the hallway because there's no room. And like Christmas, or when we go to church, which church is good about helping us, but I don't know how many times I've seen a grandparent have to stand, and because there's no room, or you've got parents and relatives standing outside. You know, we're limited on parking, that's one thing I get, but then the main thing is there's not really a designated place for these kids to be able to have these kind of dances, award ceremonies, or concerts, because you gotta think, you've got pre-K through fifth grade, that's a lot of family members coming. Say you've got one family, well, my grandmother, my mom, my dad, you know, or some families have got mom, stepmom, dad, you know, stepdad, all this, and everybody's trying to fit in a small environment. It's impossible, and I've noticed we're getting more kids than what we had, so that makes more family members. So it's way overdue that we had that, and the kids would take pride in it, because they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, we got this new thing, and it's for this, it's for that, and they're gonna take pride in that. When we're trying to teach them to take pride in the school, and I think that would help with that. That they're like, well, we gotta, you know, keep it clean, we gotta do this, or, you know, and I think there would be a lot of good, a lot come out of it if we did have that.
So this is actually some pictures of our monthly awards, character of the month, student of the month, and attendance awards. And you can see, this is where we're at. And the kids are sitting on the floor and everybody's standing around the outside because there's no place for them to sit. And we want that community involvement. We think that's great. So we don't want to discourage someone from coming to see their child or their grandchild because they say, no, I'm gonna have to stand, or I'm gonna have to lean up against the wall or something, and I just can't do that. Okay, so these two pictures here, the picture over on the left to start with, that is a parent of one of our students standing there, and what he is doing is flying a drone. He had a drone, and he said that he would come over and he would show the kids. I'm not sure whether that drone is actually in that picture or not. I can't pick it out. We thought it was really nice. We got a couple classes at a time. We did have a little bit of a problem. You see where he's standing. He brought that drone back and hovered it right over his head. He got just a little too close to that basketball goal, and that thing went spinning out of control, and he broke a couple of the fins and stuff off. So we're hoping to get him back again sometime. He said that he had everything repaired, but he actually, while he had it up, he has a phone on his controller. And he would go by and he would show the kids what that drone was seeing. And one of the things that we were going to do before it broke was we were going to try to get everybody out there and have him take a picture with that drone. So we're really still kind of hoping to get that done sometime. This picture down here, you probably noticed that this is the high school homecoming parade. So I remember when I was at the high school last year, we were in the parade. And as we were going around, I remember thinking, how come that there's no elementary schools in this parade? I mean, how come it's just high school? I said, why should they be the only ones in this parade? So I made a call or two, and I was like, can we be in this parade? And they were like, yeah. Pick something up and come on down. So that's what we did. I think Talcott fixed up a float too, and it was great. I mean, the kids had a good time. We told them to show up at 5. They showed up at 4. So it was a little tough trying to corral them, but I think that they really had a good time with that. Okay, so the next few slides here, we're going to talk about a multicultural day that we had, and I'm going to turn this over to our fourth grade teacher, Miss Knott.
Alrighty, this is our second annual multicultural day. And the last time we did was a few years ago, so it was really nice to have it again. It was a Title I event, but I did help plan it. We got bagpipe players, Patty Grady and her friend, who I do not know. They came and they played bagpipes in the hallway, which was really, really cool. Like, it was just so cool to see up close. There they are posing for the beginning of their day. Hopefully we'll get a picture of Kaylee. Yep. All right, so we had every classroom was a different country, and the kids traveled as a class to different countries all around the school. So Kaylee was from second grade over here, and she dressed up as a geisha. She was from China, but she dressed up as a geisha. Super cute. They're also posing in the Chinese room. So teachers decorated their rooms, they came up with a craft, they had a snack, and the kids got their passport stamped every time they traveled. And so they could take that home at the end of the day. And they had tons of crafts they wound up taking home at the end of the day. Tons. I was in the Netherlands and we made windmills and we also made little tulips with their hands. Yeah, super cute. And it's really cool because you get to see all the kids in school in the whole day. Like, because I never see the little bitty kids, you know? And it was so cool. I get to see them, I get to meet them, I get to know who they are. And the kids loved it. Oh my gosh. At the end of the day, their parents were invited to come back to their home classroom and we presented what they did that day. In my class, I made my kids make their own Google slideshow about what the Netherlands was. And it was totally them. It was not me at all. And it was just so cute to see them present it because they like mispronounced certain words and it was Dutch, so they really couldn't speak it very well. But it was totally kid made, you know, like totally kid done slideshow. It was just, I love that kind of stuff. And they got to tell their parents where they went and they got to show them their crafts and they got to unpack their day with their parents. So it was a really, really good day. No behavior incidents, no nothing, very positive. Everybody learned something new. The dose of culture. And then we had Australia. Pre-K was Poland. 5th grade was Ireland. 1st grade was France. Miss Newsom was Hawaii.
Yeah, I didn't know that was culture. I was pretending I was there.
We had Mexico.
Yeah.
So a lot of good stuff.
Speaking of Miss Newsom.
There's Miss Newsom. There was India. Those girls, they're my girls. They have little tattoos on their faces.
You would expect that in a class. Right.
There were really good pictures of Miss Newsom pooling with the kids too. Like there's some of my 4th grade boys like bringing it around. It was fun.
I said I ate all day.
I ate all day too, all day. There was so much good food. And I also want to talk about novel projects because we have used some board office funds and some school funds and my faculty senate funds to buy so many novels. So I just wanted to talk about where all that money was going here, especially. I know 3rd through 5th grade teaches reading comprehension only with novels. You can also teach reading fluency that way too. Let's see what I put up here. Students like it, they want to read more. I've had my students since they were in 1st grade, and we have done novel projects since the second half of 1st grade. And I was reading it to them then, but now they read it with me while we go. So they've just grown, and they love reading. My kids love reading. We always do a project at the end of it, like Winn-Dixie, that was our first one. We made a bottle tree. If you've ever read or seen Winn-Dixie, we made a bottle tree with all like the things they've done bad on the bottles that clink in the wind outside of our room. We read Charlotte's Web, we read Babe, we read Tuck Everlasting. No adult has read that. Go read it now because it's a kid's book, but it's fantastic. Bridge to Terabithia, just everything. And they just get so into it. My kids, whenever we finish a book, they will say, what are we reading next? Like they're just ready to go right now. Our new books came in the other day and they sniffed them because they like that new book smell. They opened the box and sniffed them. It's a great way to introduce vocabulary and background knowledge and integrate subjects. We just finished Little House in the Big Woods. And that was awesome. I learned probably 15 words I've never heard before. So we would look them up, we would look up a picture, we would see how it was used. Instead of canning your hide, the book said, I'm going to can your jackets. So the kids were like, what does that even mean? So we had to talk about canning your hide, and then we had to talk about what actually canning hide was. And background knowledge, and the science of reading movement right now is so big. That's a movement in our county and in the state, the science of reading. To build background knowledge, because people with more background knowledge often read better than people who are lower readers, but have, wait, I got that opposite. Lower readers with high background knowledge read better than people who are higher readers with low background knowledge. There's a picture that I did not include, but you can look it up. But novels, they provide all that. The Secret Garden, we read that in 3rd grade, and it is in Yorkshire, in England, and my kids talked in broad Yorkshire for half of a day last year, which is hilarious. I would never have done that if we didn't read that book. They loved Tuck Everlasting, the question, do you want to live forever? They still write stories that have a Tuck Everlasting like vibe to them. They still are infusing that. Babe, I didn't put a picture of the book, but Babe is a beloved novel that we have read, and he's a stuffed animal on our shelf in our room. He's there with us all the time. Projects can be done at the end or in the middle. So I put a few examples. Special ed also teaches with novel projects a lot. Miss Lane, I know Miss Collins does, and Miss Buckles and me, we all do that. City of Ember, Miss Lane just built box cities after they got done reading City of Ember. They were pretty cool. We read City of Ember this year too. That was every time the lights flicker, if you haven't read City of Ember, but every time the lights flicker, they go, ah, Ember, and they'll like scream like the lights are gonna go out forever. We have an actual secret garden. I cannot disclose the location of that garden because it is a secret, but we legit have a secret garden. We're starting planting after spring break. Body biographies, I don't have any hanging up on my door right now, but we usually do them for like every novel we study, and it's this picture of the person from the novel, and you have to write all sorts of attributes and comparisons and things they've learned throughout the book. That's a really good way to teach character studies. Dressed up like characters. I had kids come in dressed up like the characters from Babe once. That was in 1st grade. It was really cute. They were like little farmers from the English countryside. Journals. We wrote journals from Little House in the Big Woods, which was so fun. The Bottle Tree from Winn-Dixie. I think 5th grade made depression cake this year, and they ate it, and they had like a hobo depression era box situation going on in there. Miss Lane is famous for making her county fair paper mache pigs. I mean, there's a story there. But they were like a classic that kids loved. It's very doable with younger students, and I would love to purchase a few more novels next year because my kids have read a lot of books, so I need new stuff for 5th grade. So just throwing out there all the good stuff we are doing with comprehension 3rd through 5 and with Miss Lane's class. Okay. That's my show.
This is some of Miss Lane's special education students, and they're working on a section on measuring. So that's what they're doing. They have measuring spoons, measuring cups, teaspoons, tablespoons, and she had them do this little project one day, and they had to measure everything out to make some cookies. So they got to measure everything out and got the lesson from that. And then at the end, I think they brought them in here and they baked them in the oven. And so they got a cookie at the end of the day. This is also in Miss Lane's room. This is some new tables that she just got last week. And these are dry erase tables. So she gives them a marker, and they can do their work, they can write, they can do math problems, and just go back and erase it right off. I think Miss Ms. Knott helped her to get those, and I appreciate that. She was very, very happy for a week.
It
So,
wasn't only her.
uh,
It wasn't only her, Isabel, she come home and she's like, Mom, you ain't gonna believe what Miss Lane on. And it's, I mean, again, it's something that the kids take pride in. And
Oh.
so, you know, she was excited, she loved it, and she takes pride in that they got something new and it's like dedicated for their class only.
right. I thought it was very interesting. I've never seen one of those before. So. And I think this is our last slide, and I think this is what makes Jumping Branch such a good school. There's such a good staff here. They really care about the students. I mean, you could see in some of those pictures, but I mean, these ladies do all kinds of things. They work late, they plan these events, they work with these students one-on-one. I mean, anything that they need, these ladies take care of. I just happen to be in this picture, but like I said, they're the ones that really do all the really hard work. And like I said, you can tell if you would come up here someday and stand when those kids come in, they hug every one of these ladies going down this hallway. And like I said, they will do anything for them. If they have a problem, they know that they can come and talk to them. They feel comfortable doing that. So, like I said, I wanted to stick this slide in here so you would know these ladies do a really, really fantastic over-the-top job. Like I said, I think that is our last slide.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So. All right. Good, Daisy. All right, thank you for that presentation. Always good to see the things that are taking place here in the school, and my 4 kids having gone through here, I know this has always been a good place for kids to be. That small environment, you knew that the teachers cared about you when you come through doors. So, and all the staff, not just the teachers. Been a year or two, but I went through this school as well. I can remember we used to go down and help the janitor sometimes put coal in the old coal furnace.
Did you ride your dinosaur?
We did ride dinosaurs. So keep up the good work. All right, next item on the agenda, we have our minutes from the March 13th, 2024 meeting. March 12th, 2024 meeting.
As motion that we approve the minutes from March 12th, 2027.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we approve the minutes from the March 12th, 2024 regular meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the March 12th, 2024 regular meeting minutes have been approved. All right, item 8, approval of bills. The first bill we have before us is Safe and Sound.
Make a motion that we approve Safe and Sound.
Second.
Have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we approve the bill for Safe and Sound. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 4-0 vote that the Bill for Safe and Sound has been approved for payment with Mr. Brogan recusing himself. Okay, we have the remainder of the bills before us.
I'll make a motion that we pay the remainder of the bills.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we pay the remainder of the bills. Is there any discussion?
Yeah. So, I had asked Ms. McClung earlier today regarding those two checks for pest control service companies, one for Orkin, one for Standard. And she explained to me that, Orkin is used for the county office for child nutrition storage, and we've got Standard at the bus garage. Is there any reason why we're using two different companies?
I mean, just the directors of each thing have set up their own services. Standard is only the state contract, so I'm sure that's why I let them know when they had a problem, and Oregon is just who we use with the county storage for forever. Other than that, I'm not sure, it was just set up by her.
Is Orkin on the state contract approved through this?
It's not, but it's only like $1,200 a year, it's not to the rate, yeah, it doesn't. They're both really, really cheap for years. So using the two of them together.
Hey, any other questions, comments? Okay. So we have a motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we pay the remainder of the bills. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the remainder of the bills have been approved for payment. Approved transfers and supplements.
There has been one additional, you want to go into Thomas and add to that.
It's just a transfer from one contingency account to another because I did the monthly, the recap that we got last month for the first half of the year. It just needed to be moved to a different contingency account for that report to run correctly. So I was moving it to the report will run.
I'll make a motion, we approve the transfers and supplements.
Motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Harvey, that we approve the transfers and supplements. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that transfers and supplements have been approved. All right, old business, discussion or possible action regarding policy 2B1. This is the one that we talked about several meetings now. For locations of holding our meeting, as I mentioned, my thought process behind this was to take the meetings out to the public, especially since we're trying to pass a levy now. So I did get a little feedback from Ms. Farley regarding dates and times, things like that. She indicated the second and fourth Tuesday was still good, and that works out, I think, for you, Mr. Worrell, as well, because Thursdays was a conflict with some of the professional development meetings. So, Renee indicated, Ms. Farley indicated, she would kind of work around time, with us, but what time works best for you all? 5 o'clock I like, because I like getting home earlier in the evening, but it is difficult to get here sometimes at 5 o'clock. If I do have to work over, making a meeting by 5 is sometimes pushing it. I know our policy states 6. We can stick with 5, we can go with 6, we can go with 5:30, whatever works best for you all. As a body. Yeah.
I'm flexible. Whatever.
The same, use my correspondence to.
Yeah.
I want to, I can work around you all.
We guys. I recommend that you suit yourself there. I think the rest of it's pretty flexible. I mean, you said you have trouble getting here at 5 o'clock sometimes.
Well,
But I don't want to hold you all up
No.
either, so.
and that being said too, that again, going out to the schools in effort to reach the community. If it would help to get us more community engagement by having it at 6, or maybe working, getting the kids back to practice, to practice.
And that's, I've kind of thought about that both ways too.
Yeah, there's a negative side of that as well.
Is if someone's already out and they just want to stop here at 5 versus, like you said, practices, waiting for, because I know Eva had to pick him up at practice at 5 o'clock today, so some people would be doing that.
Well, on the flip side, you could say, if you want to get to a game.
Yeah,
I see
yeah,
what you're saying.
right.
Yeah.
So, and I still want, no matter what we decide here tonight, I still want to leave the verbiage in the policy of that we can change it.
Flexibility.
Yeah, leave some flexibility in there. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'll make a motion. And I wrote it down, because it's gonna be a lengthy one, and then we can discuss that motion, and if we want to change it, we can.
And if you go through with that, you might hand it over.
That's why I've got it on paper for you, so you can have it.
That's exactly right.
All right, so the reason I asked the questions I did, if you all felt strongly one way or the other, I would change it on here before I handed it over. But, so I'm gonna make a motion that we edit policy 2B1, and that's our board meeting policy, to state that board meetings be held on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at 6 PM. Now, that's not necessarily an edit, that's what we already had. June through August meetings will be held at the board office. The first meeting of the month, September through May, will be held at the Summers County Comprehensive High School. Second meeting of the month, September through May, will be rotated through the elementary schools. During the first meeting in July, the statutory meeting that we have to have in July, the board will establish the rotation schedule of the elementary schools for the upcoming year. And then that way we can publish that out on our calendar on the website, and everyone's aware of where the meetings are going to be throughout the school year.
I second your motion.
Okay. So I made a motion, seconded by Mrs. Farley. Is there any discussion on this? Now, if you want me to read it again, I'll be happy to.
Read that last part.
Okay, so the first meeting of the month, September through May, will be held at Summers County Comprehensive High School. The second meeting of the month, September through May, will be rotated through the elementary schools. During the first meeting in July, the board will establish the rotation schedule for the upcoming school year
At our mandatory
at our mandatory, that statutory. meeting.
statutory.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the motion has been approved, and I'm not going to read it again for sake of time.
No way. Yeah.
Yeah, you. All right. Item B, under old business, discussion and possible action regarding E-rate bid approval.
And so I'll talk about that.
Okay.
Just briefly, I'm not sure everyone knows what E-rate is. But E-rate, the E-rate program is funded by the FCC. It's basically provides discounts for telecommunications, internet access, internet connections to eligible schools and libraries. For us, it means that our internet is paid, 90% of our internet is paid through the E-rate program. It's imperative that we get this right. So in
2020, our last E-rate contract was to we're
Who was that through? I'm sorry.
Optum, or Southern, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
In this case, it turned into Optum. So, in 2020, we signed a 3-year agreement with the possibility of extending that 2 times by 1 year. We decided to do that 1 time. So we're in our 4th year of that contract. We have decided that our speeds need to increase. So that's why we went to the table. We got with our funding group. We actually hired a group called Educational Funding Group that helps us put out these proposals. We will Form 470, not to get too far in the weeds. And then this educational funding group then pushes out to the telecommunication community to tell them what our scope of work, what our needs are. When we did that, the first time, back in February, we weren't quite satisfied with what we done. We had one company that was too late to get the bids in time, one company that didn't get it right, and the third company was astronomical in price. So we decided to reopen the bid. We got approved to do that. And, but by doing that, we're up against the hard and fast deadline, which is tomorrow. So I'm going to tell you what we've done so far. So we put out the bid proposals. We received the bids. I have the bids here. I did not take the liberty to photocopy all of this. If you want to take a look at it, and I also have a copy of the RFP that was put out to all the companies. But in essence, in your packet, you have one document, and it's the matrix that Danny Yost and I utilized. And there's two categories of this matrix that I want you to take a look at. The first is price, because that's the bottom line. And from this matrix, I'll have it flip over in just a moment. Optimum was by far the cheapest of the 3. The last point on this matrix, you'll see turnkey solution. It's very interesting to me because I had opened my eyes. Optimum has the fiber optic lines ran to each school. So their turnkey solution, their price is going to be cheaper than everyone's. The companies that bid on the project is Segra, Frontier, and Optimum. You can turn over to the back, you'll see in my handwriting costs that we would be paying per month from each of these 3 companies. That's why we have chosen Optimum. If you voted to be true, for $377.50 a month for internet and entire camp. Now, what does that mean? What speeds? So let me give you that real quick. Currently, we have 500 megabyte speed in Eaton area, 100 megabyte speed at Jumping Branch, 200 megabyte speed at Talkit, 300 megabyte at the bus garage, and 2G at the central office, which is our operating system. Current discount price right now is $400, right, a month. So we're going to be getting almost double the speed for a cheaper rate. I was a little reluctant, I was a little hesitant when I saw the numbers, but I did verify that is true. It's happened, and availability of vendors coming on board. So we will be getting 1 gig in there, 500 megabyte jumping branch, 500 talking. We'll stay with 2 gig at the high school for now, 500 megabyte at the bus garage, and 5G at the central office, which is our knowledge. So we have the ability now to up our speed to 5G if we ever need it. Right now, well, our current contract is just a 2. So,
What was the current at the high school?
2G.
It is 2G now, so it'll remain the
It
same?
will remain the same.
Okay.
When we did the 1-year renewal, we actually upped that
Okay,
at the time, and Daniel feels certain that's sufficient at the moment.
okay.
So, well, basically what I need, well, what we need from you is an approval to go with Optimum the next 3 years. We'll also have the additional, two times we can extend it 1 year if needed.
For the same price of.
Actually, it's gonna be cheaper than what we're paying now for almost double the speed.
No, I mean.
It locks it in.
No, I mean at this price for the additional 2 years, at this, it locks that in.
Yes, for everything, each minute. Let me give you another number, kind of put in perspective of what E-rate does for the county, for other counties as well. Well, over the 3 year period, we'll be paying $13,589 per annum. We'll be saving $122,308, at 90% discount. So that E-rate, being a whole lot of money, whole lot of money.
Mhm.
I can provide any of these documents if you want to take a look at them now.
If I recall, when I started this 4 years ago, before Mr. Meadow came on, I think we were at 80 or 85%. We bumped up to 90%. So we're actually getting a better deal because of the rate went from 80 or 85% up to 90% off. So that's a huge savings to the county.
We're billed that monthly, so it's not like a large fee up front. Although we had a little bit of a hiccup here recently, we have since fixed that.
Anytime you upgrade your home internet, it's a matter of punching a few buttons and it's faster. Is that basically what we're doing here? Or is there
Yes, with
equipment?
Optimum, it is because the fiber optic lines are already there. It's just a matter of unlocking the ability of speed.
So under ability to constrain the usage and traffic flow, your other two, vendors scored 5s out of 5s and Optimum had a 0 out of 5.
I knew you would ask that,
Yeah.
but I haven't asked you. It's not a problem. In fact, the other vendors send weekly reports that Optimum does, however, we have to monitor ourselves with our filters as well as our, it's okay. It's fine.
I make a motion, we approve the, bid of the E-rate, for Austin.
I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mr. Brogan, that we approve the E-rate bid for Optimum. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the E-rate bid has been approved. All right, new business, approved purchases over 25,000. The first one we have, the only one we have, looks like, is the 195 Dell Chromebooks with cases.
So this is something that we do every year. Unfortunately, it's that kind of money. This purchase is for Chromebooks for 3rd and 8th grade. They come with a 5-year warranty, repair service, and with cases. We purchase these 2 grades every year, and the students keep them for 5 years, after which most of the Chromebooks are at the end of their lifespan. So we take the best ones available of the replaced devices and assign them to the 7th grade students whenever that comes into play. But this is something that we do every year. It's, that computer goes with the students for a 5-year period. And at the end of the 5-year period, what's left of some of these Chromebooks, we use for loaners or substitutes, but the rest of them, unfortunately, are sent to recycle.
Where's the funding going to come from actually this year?
That's to be determined, and we've actually, Daniel and I spoke about that in my office yesterday, and we're exploring some ideas, so that is noted.
And how long are we committed to Europe?
We have 5 years.
5 years left?
5 left. Was it a total of 7?
So it's,
7. So will we be, does that money diminish?
now, these machines, I would think would get these kids through.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they last 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
You may have something fill in here and there. I'll edit that over.
So this is a cost meeting, like everybody together, when we're doing the budget, more into the budget of, honestly, probably set 700 a block now, so there's not restrictions on it, but it's in there somewhere, but, that'll be in the budget.
Step 7 will get hit hard again like it did before COVID money. That's usually where we have to find the money.
I make a motion to approve the purchase for the Dell 3110 Chromebooks with Casey.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we approve the Dell Chromebook purchase. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the Dell Chromebook purchase has been approved. All right, item B, discussion of possible action to approve out-of-state trips. We have two. One for Jumping Branch Elementary, Miss Jessie Collins taking the students to Roanoke, Virginia, April 12th. And one for Summers County Comprehensive High School, Miss Stacy Young taking students to Swinging Bridge in Paint Bank, Virginia, May 3rd, 2024.
I'll make a motion that we approve both, trips to Roanoke, Virginia and Paint Bank, Virginia.
Motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mrs. Harvey, that we approve the two out-of-state trips to Roanoke, Virginia and Paint Bank, Virginia. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that these two out-of-state trips have been approved. Item C, the Ron Clark Academy, employee out-of-state trip in Atlanta, Georgia, June 4th through the 5th. There'll be 4 attendees: Rebecca Brown, Kristen Richmond, Kate Elkins, and Susan Newsom. So I did get a little information about the Ron Clark Academy. I actually spoke to Ms. Newsom. I don't, anyone who knows her knows she's a high energy teacher. So I was very curious, what she could tell me about it. She said that it was a way it was a way that they were going to learn new ways to engage students to promote more activity in the learning process. And we got the email from Ms. Brown as well. So, I did watch some of the videos online. It looked like a high energy training as well. So, I did see in some of our earlier, there was a cost associated with it. Was it $1,050 per attendee? Maybe that was the website when I was looking on there.
You're right.
Now, will they drive or will they fly down? How will their transportation be?
I have not seen the paperwork on which way unless you have.
That was gonna be a big percent. I think it's probably harder, but I think that, this from email, the total,
Okay.
or the estimated cost,
Uh-huh.
but the traveling, I think that we're still going to determine, once they figure out if they can go or not, which will be better.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you should look at training charges, but they change all the time, so until they can actually
Yeah.
determine what's going to be cheaper. But I'm pretty sure it was in our email, the estimated, for estimated cost. And this will be paid out of our funds because it is, learning malls, like trying to engage students, so.
So that, the art funds, will that cover the all expenses?
Yeah, because it's all
Okay.
to learn about that, so it should cover everything that they.
Okay. And I was looking at plane tickets today and they really went up.
Yeah.
If they were to drive, do we have a station vehicle? Would we rent a vehicle?
We probably pay the mileage.
Mileage.
The standard rate. I mean, we could rent a vehicle if they all wanted to go together, that's all up for discussion.
Okay.
I don't see it possible.
See that?
There's not a policy
Yeah.
in the email.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. Some reason, and it may have been when I was looking on the website, but for some reason, I'm thinking 1,050 a person.
Well, where's the phone is?
Pardon? Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, fine.
No, 'cause that's.
He's gonna call, he's trying to,
Pardon?
Mr. Page is gonna call.
Okay.
Call Ms. Brown, so you got it.
Okay.
You wanna come back to this?
Let's,
one?
yeah, so let's table this and we'll come back to it. The big star there. We'll come back to that after Mr. King comes back. So we'll drop down to item D, discussion or possible action regarding selection of an auditor by an outside accounting firm for fiscal year 24, 25, and 26. We'll let you have this one.
So we just have to have a rule from the board to reach out to get it figured out. We've discussed several times about one year versus 3 year. I really think with the more interest that we do with 3 year, because last time when we put out the 1 year, we only had one audit firm actually send. We had 3 respond, but 2 of them were no bid. I just think it's easier for them to plan if you do a long enough thing. And if you get more people interested, you'll probably get a better price.
So this is, we're just going to take action on putting it out for bid this time.
We have to let the state auditor's office know that we're going to seek an outside firm.
Okay.
They approved that and then we put it out, it's an RFP, but we put it out for an RFP and then we send it to the firm we want to. I did do a little bit of research on because the state auditor is an option as well. I got around to a few counties and it seems like the state auditor is quite a bit more expensive than outside firms.
Yeah, that seems like that's what we hear every year.
Yeah, I called
Yeah.
Pocahontas County specifically because, well, they're quite a bit smaller than us, but kind of in comparison. They paid about 4 times what we did for their audit. So I just wanted to put that in comparison. The state bills for every hour that they have, whereas if you put it out for audit firms, it's a block price, so they just, send the bid in.
So I think we talked about this a while back, but because this is over a 3-year period, how does that work as far as you closing out books?
You're just paying, there'll be 3 payments.
It'll be 3
Okay.
years.
Yeah, you pay every year, so you'll have one payment every year. It's just you're recurring with the state auditor.
Okay.
So the ideal would be, the hope at least, is that more audit firms would be interested because, they can schedule, because our auditor is here, was just here yesterday and today. The audit is due Friday. So like, because we're late getting on their books every year, the audit's been pushed and it's been late the last 3 years. We're supposed to have it in by Friday. The auditor says that we should. Another hope for having in 3 years to get on their schedules earlier so we can avoid that. Those are just all the things that can happen. I can't guarantee anybody will take the bid. But it's just the hopes that, somebody being able to plan 3 years out will give us a better chance.
Okay.
And is there an option, even though we're doing a 3-year bid, or if we were to do a 3-year bid? If we have a valid reason not continue in the middle of it with that same auditor, is there an out clause?
They have to break their contract. So there is a contract with all the auditors and they have to really do something against their contract. So it would have to be something substantial. I don't know specifically if you just don't like them weaker than someone else, that's probably not the case.
No, but one thing is something, if one of the reasons why we're going through your bid is to get a more timely submission, and they continue to submit late.
Yeah, so.
I think we just put that in our MOU, we can put stuff in there to put that type of verbiage in there.
Well, it's not an MOU, it's a state contract from the auditor's office, and
Well, I
that
call
way,
all
like,
contracts MOUs, sorry.
it's okay. We can't change the wording though, it's a state written.
But what we could do though is that's why we pay attorneys to help us with that, because if you have a problem,
Yeah, if
They
it's the
don't have to
auditor's,
come in.
at that point, we would contact the state auditor's office and ask for a layout of the contract. And I think they would help if it was the auditor's fault.
I don't think that'll be it.
Yeah, I don't think that would be.
So this only auditor that we had respond last time, the one we used, that's the one that dings us on 8,200 for stringing. Is that correct?
That's the one that has.
Yeah. To answer your question, yes.
So I make a motion that we put it out for bids.
A second.
So we have a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we put this out for bid, this selection of an auditor, an outside accounting firm. Any discussion? So I have one more question. When do we have, so we're going to know, this means we're going to notify the state we're going to an outside firm. When do we have to choose that outside firm by?
It's a wait, we have to let them know by the middle of April that we want to do it, but we don't
Okay.
have to let them know it's like the fall.
Okay.
So we have plenty of time to collect our.
Well, the only reason I was thinking is if the opposite of what we're hoping happens. If we hope to get more by doing a 3-year and somebody says, oh, I don't want to commit to a 3-year, and we don't get, then do we still have time to put it back out again? But it sounds like we do.
We do, but once you commit to the auditor's office, I'm not sure if we can change.
Right,
I would have to,
right. But we could still get an outside firm.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I hope you're right. I hope by putting it out for 3 years, we do get a lot of people, a lot more firms. But just thinking it, somebody might say, I don't want to commit to 3 years.
I think they will.
Yeah, hopefully they will. All right, so, motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Farley. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by 5-0 vote that we will notify the state, the auditor, of an outside accounting firm for 24, 25, 26. Now, let's go back to C, thank you. Discussion,
$1,050 per person.
okay,
They plan to, carpool in a personal vehicle,
okay,
71 vehicle with standard mile rate. And they haven't nailed down accommodations, but they're planning on Airbnb, but it's much cheaper than Shanghai.
okay. Thank you.
It sounds to me like they've done their due diligence to at least attempt to save us some money. So for that reason, I'm willing to make a motion that we approve that trip.
I'll second that. Motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by myself to approve employee out-of-state trip to the Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the out-of-state trip to the Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta, Georgia has been approved. Item E, discussion of possible action regarding policy 7-A-10, Summers County's expected behavior in safe and supportive schools.
I asked for this to be put on there, and it may have been a little premature. After looking at it a little closer, this covers quite a wide area. And what I would like to do is put this on the agenda to be looked at our next regular scheduled meeting. And I would like to invite Dr. Green to attend with the disciplinary referrals from the high school. If you're willing to do so.
I can provide you a report from the year.
Okay.
Just to give you a quick update, the Department of Education and the legislation is looking at changing this policy as well. They look at this policy, I'm gonna say around 3 to 5 years, depending on how much behavior starts popping up. Like, I'll give you an example, vaping, that wasn't a big buzzword 10 years ago, like it is today. And then obviously you have stuff with cell phones, that stuff, who would ever thought in 2007 when the iPhone was invented to today, how much has happened with transmitting videos and photos of people. So the state is also looking at this. When David Perry was the president at the time, he was a past principal and he wanted more flexibility with 4373 with differences between 1, 2, and 3. 4s are, that behavior is usually a shall. You shall expel or you shall do X, Y, and Z. 1 through 3s, those are more mays and you can fluctuate depending on if you get in trouble more often or it's your first time. That's why they were trying to look at that. But now it's Senator Grady, who she's, the chair of education. She's brought some things to the forefront about some behavior in the classrooms as well. So this is a hot topic item at the state level as well.
Okay, so we will add this to the April 9th meeting agenda, and Dr. Green's gonna bring a discipline report for the year to that meeting. Item F, 24-25 school calendar hearing.
You all have in your hands, there's 2 calendars and you have them there for the general public. This is the first of 2 meetings for people in the county to have a discussion with the board on these 2 calendars. If there's really not too much of a difference in the calendars, except for at spring break, if you will. The biggest difference is I've asked the employee that we need to move the calendar back as much as we can because of making sure construction is all the way done at both the middle school level and at Canton Area Elementary. So the start date on both calendars is going to be the same. August 19th for staff and then the following Monday, August 26th for students. I do know that that does push us back into June a little bit, but the staff decided they'd rather still try to have the same calendar that mirrors what has been in the last few years, so they get the same breaks. Well, if you do that, that means you're going to go into June. I mean, that's just how it works. So having said that, you can see the notes from Ms. Jones, because she's in charge of the calendar committee. She's worked with the calendar committee, and they come up with 2 calendars for you all to look at. Nothing can be acted on tonight because we have to have 2 public hearings on this calendar. And at this point in time, this is where people now can publicly see these calendars and make their comments. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them for you.
Did you answer mine?
Okay.
So between now and the next meeting, I assume this will be put before the
Yep. This will be.
population to vote on.
Yep. And just to let you know, Ms. Jones told me, she said, I just want to let you know, it's hard to predict what things are going to be discussed in the future. So we had to put out the 2 calendar dates in the newspapers. And one was here at the Jumping Branch, the other one is at the board office. If you guys choose to change the location, we need to know now so we can put it in the paper by tomorrow, because the paper usually wants their information to them by Wednesday. That makes sense to get it out on Friday. So if you do change the location, Ms. Jones told me to let you guys know that. But if you don't, then we're gonna be fine because it was already put in the paper in a timely manner. But by code, state code, we have to put it in the paper.
Let's just check and make sure we had our hunters covered Thanksgiving week.
There
Those calendars are covered.
was representation for the hunters at the counter. And then some.
I live with one that I passed your son.
I'm sure the bus drive supports that week.
Any comments from the public regarding the calendar?
Kind of boring, honestly.
Yeah. All right, so we'll take no action on that, and then it'll be on the next April 9th agenda as well. Item G, discussion or possible action to approve the MOU between Summers County Board of Education and Dennis Alder. This is for our maintenance on our lawn care equipment.
So last year, we came up with this contract with Mr. Alder, service, maintaining all of our power equipment, all the lawnmowers we use, et cetera. It was at $25 an hour. Price is up to $40 an hour. It's a great service. He does a tremendous job. Comes on site, diagnoses to best of the, making sure how we've done with that last season. Put things in perspective, Bridgeport equipment, they charge $45 an hour for chainsaws and meters, and $85 an hour for everything. Adams charges $90 an hour. And local keeps, which we work with here recent by Marks, $60 an hour for $30 diagnosis and diagnostic fee. So we think this is a great deal. Like in services with this.
And he comes to us. We don't have to take it to him.
That's exactly right.
The motion to approve the MOU between the Summer County Board of Ed and Dennis Alder through the power and monitor thing.
Second. Motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we approve the MOU between Summers County Board of Education and Dennis Alder for power and lawn equipment maintenance. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the MOU between Summers County Board of Education and Dennis Alder for power and lawn equipment maintenance has been approved. Discussion or possible action on proposed levy rates.
You all should have a white sheet like this with yellow highlight. Ms. McClung had done a little research and makes that look at CSD does. I'll call it CSX. But you want to explain a little bit about this levy rates real quick?
I don't want to give you a set of time before the statutory meeting for this. Because we have the levy on the ballot, we don't actually approve the levy rate. There will be, I'll type up something and we'll just say that we're waiting until the levy, on the ballot to see if it's passed or not, and then as soon after, we need to have a meeting to approve the levy rate of that. So we'll just have pretty much a memo that it'll be on the ballot, we'll send that to the state, that'll do until May, and then the first meeting after the election, end of May, we'll actually approve it. That was just information, and I highlighted where it says what we're supposed to do, so that you guys had that ahead of time. There's no action.
There's no action.
All right,
Just information.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item 12, personnel. We will handle first the summer service. All right, so we have before us, under personnel, the summer service employment effective July 1 through July 26, 2024, excluding July 4th holidays. We have names listed there and been posted as required, positions posted as required.
Make a motion to approve the employment for summer service.
I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. Brogan, that we approve the employment for summer service personnel. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. The minutes reflect by 4-0 vote that the summer service employment personnel has been approved, with Mrs. Farley recusing herself. All right, we have before us the remainder of the personnel items. We have resignations and retirements. We have professional employment. We have service substitute. Got a sneeze. Passed. Employment service substitute and extracurricular profession.
I make a motion that we approve the remaining recommendations for personnel.
I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mr. Brogan, that we approve the remaining personnel items. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. But the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the remaining personnel items have been approved. Item 13, superintendent's report.
Since it's been a long evening, you guys have seen some good stuff here at Junkie Branch Elementary. Good to be proud of the group, and I know the kids are well taken care of here. And sometimes it's just best for the principal to stay out of the way of all these ladies here. Would you agree, Mr. Pack? There you go. Good. See how he said yes? That's what you do sometimes. But on a positive note, there's a lot of good going on in the school, and it's good for the board to see all the good that's going on here. Real quick, construction update, Hinton Area Elementary, I sent you guys some information, let you know, demo is pretty much done. Dan Hill Construction's done a great job. They've had all their background checks. We've given them, little, lanyards to wear. All those guys are meeting all the expectations we asked. The gentleman who's running it, his name's Tom. Tom's retired. He's related to Dan Hill some way, somehow. But he got to talking to Charlie and myself, and you know, he went to Talcott High School, and then he moved over to Hinton because he was really good at engineering and math. And so he said, I served in both schools, and this is really cool to be part of this as a retired guy from the area. And then he dug up a book to correct a book that I have from Summers County, the history of all the schools. And he said, there needs to be a correction in that book. And he showed me this one-room schoolhouse, and we talked about that. So it's just nice to talk to a guy about construction, but also to know he's a local guy and wants to make sure everything's done right. And he wants to know school colors, mascot, everything to make sure we take good care of it. A couple of the guys working there said, if we paint this wall, can we get all the kids with their handprints? I think that'd be really cool, because when my kid was in school, that's what they did. It was really great that these guys are talking about the finish work, and yet they haven't done anything with construction yet. And it was just different to hear a bunch of guys talking interior decorating and painting and wanting to put kids' handprint on the wall. I thought that tells you right there, they care about this product that they're going to provide for the kids there in the area. On the middle school edition, just to let you guys know, we are definitely going to have the construction done in July. But the biggest issue right now is we have a big part that needs to come from China. It'll be shipped out April 19th. So far, so good. But the problem is this shipment is critical to running the whole school. That means you have to shut down everything and hook that back up and then see if it runs perfectly. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through school the rest of the school year as normal. Once the kids are out on that Friday, the following Monday is Memorial Day. That's a holiday. So on that Tuesday, that's when we're going to shut the school down completely so they can have no interference with food, students, or employees. And we'll make sure the employees that finish their last day, technically will be that day, we will work that out with them. We'll get that to you later, but we can have them work in the other buildings to finish up their paperwork, if you will, to finalize grades. There's also been a suggestion that maybe we give them, all county employees, they can work over that evening on that Friday and then take that following Tuesday off. Or you choose to work on Tuesday, but you can pick one or the other. So I think I at least got to work that out because we want to make sure all the food's done. We don't have to worry about that when the electric's off. And then as far as any activities at that building, there is nobody there. They can run interference and take care of all that bugs, because there's gonna be bugs eventually with, and I don't mean bad bugs, I mean bugs like, well, this is not running right, we got a kink over on this side of the building, it's not working correctly. The other thing is we need to get the building balanced out, because at that time of year, it's gonna be warmer. We need to make sure that gymnasium area is at the right temperature, because when you put a wood floor down, you gotta do it right. If you don't, you could have a problem, maybe not 1 year, but 10 or 15 years later, because that wood and water don't work too well, or moisture. So, just letting you know that that is the big issue that we're trying to deal with. Tomorrow, we're going to be digging a line for the water. So there's going to be a lot of work going on. By Friday, you will see one steel beam rafter going on the gymnasium. They want to see if it gets set right, make sure everything's good. The following week, I wanted them to put the steel beams up, because what's the following week? Spring break, you won't have anybody riding back there and causing problems. 'Cause that's a lot of steel in the air, and it's going to be pretty high when you put that on the gym wall. So that's a quick update on that construction. So far, everything's been working pretty well, the way it's moving as we keep going forward. But so Friday, you will see a steel beam go up, so that's pretty exciting to know that we're getting there. But July, the middle of July is the date for this to be all complete. Oh, and one other thing, Mr. Kuhn and I have gone to all the schools, we've done RIF and transfers. As you know, every time this year, you have to do that to see how our budget is. Right now, I think, looking people in the eye and talking to them about their future is not the easiest, because some positions are terminated, not because of their performance, but because of funding and knowing how many kids are coming to school. We have let them know, hang on tight. People move all the time this time of year, either out of county or out of state or within the county, different jobs. So just hold on for the next 30 to 60 days. There will be movement. You will be on the referred list, and we will call you back if those jobs are available still. So just hang tight with us, but we'll work with everybody on that. But at this point in time, I don't predict or project anybody that wants a hearing, but that still is a possibility, because we do, by state code, that's the process. We do it every year. So other than that, everybody has been notified in person, and we have given everybody a piece of paper to let them know they've either been RIF or transferred.
How many was it? So
Which one?
I guess both.
You count up an effective number, let me get that to you. I'll have stuff like.
All right, is that all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Point of privilege, Mrs. Harvey?
Wish I'd like to thank you for having you and your staff, I have this up here for your LSSA meeting. It's great to see the numbers that you guys put up today. Dr. Freeman, glad that you could be here as well as a part of that handoff. If you received a good school with good staff. Left it in good shape, you've taken it and ran with it, so to speak. And also, for the rest of the group, I mentioned in the case pack earlier today, I had an employee from the school chase me down in the parking lot at Kroger to tell me how thrilled and glad that they were that Mr. Pack was here, was in their leadership. They really appreciate you being here and
Thank you. Mrs. Farley?
And I'll also extend my thanks and gratitude for hosting us. And I'm pleased with the hard work. We've heard a lot of good things. So thank you. By show of hands, how many in this room from day one has been involved with, getting this levy information together and out there? And I know it's people up here. Put your hands up if you've been involved. Okay, I want to extend, haven't you been to a meeting?
No, yeah.
Okay.
You see people up here, so I didn't think I needed to raise my hand. Oh, okay, I'm with you now. I'm a slow learner.
I just want to extend my gratitude to all of you for, compiling the information, working through the kinks to get that out there. And I know that all of you up here at this table and at these tables have put in countless hours to get that done. And I appreciate that so much. That's stuff that goes on behind the scenes that people have no idea. And then every time you brought the board something, we're like, what's that be changed? That doesn't make, but in order, when you bring it to us and we look at it from a public standpoint, we're like, I think it would make more sense to the public if you change this wording. And that has taken a lot of time for you guys and for you all attending the meetings up here. I just appreciate that so much because that things that people don't know about all of that behind the scenes work. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Bergen?
Few things. Last time we had point of privilege, the boys basketball just finished up their season, and since then, the girls have finished their seasons. I'd just like to congratulate Coach Blevins on his first ever winning season for the high school girls basketball team. It's created quite a buzz, more than I've seen in a while, people commenting on I don't know how it's named exactly, the advisory thing that's going on with Kim Cox and Amber Stover, the adulting class. Man, that is just went over super well, so I'd just like to congratulate Amber and Kim on that. And I remember when they were giving us the presentation down at school, they're on point. This could get lengthy. I'll try to make it quick and easy as I can, and this is not really a point of privilege. I want to address the elephant in the room as far as you guys talking about wishing you had a Jeep. Mr. Angel told you he was here, many, many years ago.
Not that many. Way.
I'm from right here, Jumping Branch. My daughter went here. She's 38, so you know how long ago that was. And she was here. My son's 24. He went here. And this has been a severe issue since I forgot what it said on the picture there, from the 50s.
1950.
Yeah. It's not a new issue. The problem, guys, because of every 10 years, we have Mr. Orr, you might have to help me with this. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, the 10-year plan.
10-year facility.
Where different folks in the community look through what we've got and where we're going. And they've actually recommended to the board to close this. And so for that reason, it is just super hard for us to get any grant money. When we got all the COVID money, I thought, okay, fine, we're going to get something up here for Jumping Branch. But when they give you that money, there's also a bunch of people that tells you how you spend that money. And unfortunately, we couldn't get them turned loose up here because we got that lingering over our head that we're supposed to be closing the school. So although I can't give you any good news as far as getting a gym or a multi-purpose building, trust me, I have tried. But I'm only one board member, but us five really think alike a lot. And I can almost assure you, as long as we're here, you're still gonna at least have a school. Well, that's not real comforting as far as what you're wanting, but it's a matter of finances and nobody wants to give us the money for the reasons that, and we certainly don't have. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Burger. Mr. McBride?
Well, I'll keep it short. I just want to commend Mr. Pack and his entire staff up here at Jumping Branch for the job that you've done and the enthusiasm that you obviously have with your staff and among your parents and your students. And I've known Mr. Pack for several years, along with his family. And I also think that we're lucky to have you here in our school system. And we appreciate it. And to all the other service personnel and teachers, all personnel, all the staff, enjoy your spring break. It's well deserved.
Happy week off.
Good job, Jay.
Greg, can I say one more
You
thing?
can.
Unless you were gonna say it maybe, but
No,
I'm
you
so
go ahead.
happy to see a couple of moms here. I
Yeah.
was thrilled.
Yep. So always great to get feedback from the schools. I can't say anything that hasn't already been said, except for, I think I may have been shopping in Kroger when somebody was chasing, Miss Harvey through the parking lot, because I believe that same person came up and talked to me in Kroger. But, I just want to mention to the board members here, April 13th, the Hinton Historic Society will be having a presentation or an induction ceremony at the Summit County Comprehensive High School. And I was contacted and asked to make sure the board members were aware of this. They would like board members in attendance if possible. Again, that's April 13th at 2 p.m. If you all have been in the cafeteria down at the high school, there is a new trophy case, for lack of a better word, on one of the walls there, just as you start down the hall toward the gymnasium. So the Hinton Historic Society is going to start recommending people for induction into a Hall of Fame for achievements they have done nationally. So on April 13th, there will be 5 inductees who are still living. 3 are deceased. And I'm not going to give it away. I don't know, maybe I don't do Facebook anymore, so maybe they've posted on Facebook who it's going to be, but 2 of the people that are still living are pretty big names, and you all will recognize them. But some of the ones who had passed, I don't have names in front of me. I know that we had a gold medal recipient at one time, and so that person's going to be inducted. There was another person who had done a lot of math to dealing with astronomy. And so that person was going to be inducted. And then there was an individual who had flown, a female who had flown an airplane, I think across the distance of the Alaskan highway. So she's going to be inducted. So it was pretty interesting when they called and told me about it. I think it's good that they're recognizing these individuals, but they're doing it not necessarily to recognize, to solely recognize those individuals, but to show the kids in our community that you can come from a small town and you can come from a small school and you can still do things on the global picture. And that's what they're trying to do, is encourage our kids. So April 13th, if you all are able, again, they invited the board members, but I'm sure anyone is able to attend, and they would be happy to have anyone from the central office or the schools to be there as well, because as I said, it's being done as an encouragement to our students. So put that on your calendar, and if you're able to make it, that'd be great. 2 p.m. All right, discussion on next agenda. We have the next regular meeting, April 9th at Summers County Central Office at 5 PM. I know we had a little talk of our, board meeting policy. Are we good with April 9th, 5 PM at the central office? Okay, so you don't need to put you don't have to put correction out. Again, we mentioned earlier during the levy discussion, town hall meeting, April 8th at 6:15 PM. Any other items for the next agenda? We do have the two that we are going to carry over from this meeting.
It's really not a discussion item, but, just to let you know, today, I sent you all an email with a video link. Brandon and Grace and Lawson, all three seniors, great leaders, did a great job asking me questions.
I watched it, it's good.
I did
About
too.
levy. We were gonna get that pushed out, and if you wanna share that, I know you got a little Facebook account, share that, because it's gonna go on our webpage. Those students need to be commended for one other thing. That senior class also got an award, because everyone in that senior class, and Mr. Bowling needs a lot of credit, for pushing these kids to all get registered to vote. So we had Secretary Mac Warner come, and not only did he enjoy it, Miss Harvick was there too, but weren't they pretty impressed with our kids? And then with the commissioners, they had a board member, and they were really saying that this county had a lot of representation, and the kids, guys, they were well behaved. And not only were they well behaved, they answered some questions that weren't easy about history. So kudos, I forgot, I'm sorry I forgot to mention that to you guys, but Miss Harvey, you probably would say it was a pretty good hour, with the kids, don't you think?
Yeah, it was just, good recognition ceremony for the kids, great achievement for, Brandon Isaac, who's the senior student body president. And, Dr. Green reminded me, I know we had received that achievement and honor before, but this is now the fourth time that Summers County High School has achieved that recognition.
Thank you. One thing I would like to put on the next agenda, and I would like it to be a recurring item.
Okay.
Ms. Farley mentioned the pause for applause. Let's put that on there because that'll give us an opportunity to recognize our students for things such as this.
Okay.
Or community members who may volunteer time or donations to our system.
How about I try to get, Brandon and Grace, because they're the student body president and vice
Yep.
president, and maybe Mr. Well, how about we do this? Since sorry, well, I was thinking you were jumping branch still, sorry, but it's just funny how you both are right here. Could you make sure that happens? Because I think that would be a good thing for the kids to talk about that. And can they bring the award there? Was it a certificate or an actual plaque?
Well, it's a certificate in a.
Okay.
A folder. Eventually it'll be framed and hung in the office with the rest of them.
Perfect.
They can bring that themselves, I'll do it.
Okay, let's make that happen.
And since we're making things happen, the first meeting in May, I would like to have the first meeting in May at your school. And I would like you to ask the esports club to come to that first meeting in May and give us an update. They've already told me, but I told them I wanted them to come to a board meeting and tell the good news, so.
Is that where you're getting a haircut that
No,
month?
that's not where I'm getting a haircut.
That's not where you're.
But it is some good news. When I was speaking to Mr. Woods and he told me what they had accomplished this year, I was very encouraged by that. And, you know, if it helps one kid, that's a good thing. All right, Mr. McBride, you're on.
Hold on.
Oh, okay, hold on.
That's fine.
We need to add conversation about, I was contacted by a gentleman over here at the church. They're getting ready to, I think, maybe resurface this parking lot over here. We use that parking lot probably 10 times more than they do. We need to discuss maybe helping them out.
Thank you, Mr. Rogan. All right, any other items for the agenda? Before I step on more toes. All right, Mr. McBride, you're on.
Okay, I move we adjourn, time 7:01.
Thank you, sir.